Hello and welcome to Arts and Crafts with Steve McDonald. Today I'm going to show you how I prepare an MDF board ready for a resin pouring. Now it's not difficult, it doesn't take much time, but the way I do it is not the only way, but it works for me. 100% of the time it works for me. I don't have any pulling away of the resin from the edges, I get a nice coating over the edges. Also I can remove the drips really easily from underneath without any problem at all, without any sanding. Now, the way I do it, it shouldn't take you many seconds, and it can be done with all MDF boards. If you like this video, please subscribe to this channel. I am growing this channel nicely, and I'm getting lots of lovely comments and subscribers. And enjoy the rest of this video. I have my MDF board here, and I get these from Amazon. They're quite lightweight, they're not heavy at all, but they work brilliantly for me. They're an A3 size, and you can get them in different sizes, and they're quite thin as well, but they work exceptionally well, and they all come like this, so I just have to do a little bit of work to prep them. So before I even start prepping them, and really you should wear a mask for this when you're sanding down any MDF, so there's just a little bit of a health and safety warning. I take a piece of 120 grit sandpaper, and I just go over the corners that I'm going to be using as the face of the picture, and I just take the edges off of those and round them over a little bit. And what that does is that helps your resin flow much easier. Now, I used to do this with my Dremel, but what I found was when I did it with the Dremel, I would take out too much because it does move really, really quickly, and I would end up with little divots around the edges, where actually this does it really quite quickly and just gives enough curvature on that edge without it really looking like you've got a curved edge, but it does the trick. Now make sure you go up all the way to the corners as well, and do an even stroke as best as possible to get that out the way. Okay, so that's that done. I haven't done right away to that edge. There we go. So that's all the edges done. And all I'll do now is I'll take a piece of kitchen paper or kitchen pad or anything like that. I give it a quick spray, a little bit of a misting with water. You just don't want to saturate it. And I go over it and get rid of the dust, because that dust can be irritating if it's on the MDF when you come to paint it. So there are two parts to this for me. There's the painting and then there's the sealing of the edges to get rid of the drips. So what I'm using here is just a bit of acrylic paint, and I use the Crawfords and Black acrylic paint, not because I have any affiliation with them, but actually I've tested all of their acrylics with all my resins, and there is no reaction with any of them, which is great. I just take a normal 1-inch paintbrush, I go round like this, and I prime my canvases mainly in either white or black, depending on what I'm going to be doing. I suppose I mainly use the black ones, but I do use the white ones if there's light colours. I try and keep all the brush strokes as even as possible, and I will do 4 strokes like this across the whole board as well, because unless you're looking to get that actual pattern of brush strokes in a covering, if you're doing a clear covering, then this helps to get rid of the brush strokes as quickly as possible. Now I normally get it all up my arm because I rest it on my arm, but it's acrylic paint, so it's not going to hurt you, and it will come off quite easily. The other thing I do is I go around all the edges like this, because I think it's really important to get rid of any of the MDF colour that's on those edges. But once I've done an edge, I always get rid of the build-up as well to allow that resin to flow over those edges. Okay, because that's really important, because you don't want any barrier there if you want those edges nice and resined as well. Now, MDF, actually, you don't need to prime if you don't want to. You can pour directly onto MDF, but MDF comes in the same colour. I don't know what colour this is, because I'm colourblind. I suppose I should have checked that first. So what this does is, what priming the MDF board does, is at least it guarantees that none of that awful MDF colour is going to seep through. So that's all the edges done, that's all the top done, that's all the brush strokes pulled out, and that literally, it's quite a warm day here today, that will dry very quickly. I usually do 4 or 5 of these at a time. I do 4 at a time. I do 2 white and 2 black normally, so I've got them in reserve, and then when I use one I just do prime another one. So we'll leave that to dry before we come back to the second stage and then the third stage. So now the front of the board has dried, what I always do is I go round the edge of, and I didn't mean to pour that in there like that, but I do go round the edge of the back. Now, people aren't going to see the back of the board, certainly not, but what this does is it seals the MDF nicely to be able to tape off the board. Because what I found is, if I don't do this, then halfway through pouring my resin, whatever tape I seem to use, whether it's masking tape or the plastic tape, it pulls off. The resin pulls it off. But 100% of the time, if I do this and coat these edges first, and you can neaten this up any time you want, the masking tape I now use never comes off until I want it to come off. And I think that makes a real big difference. It saves me so much time getting those drips and things off. So you could do the whole board if you wanted to in black, or you can do it like I do it here, and then I neaten it up afterwards. Or actually, I normally print off something and put on the back of the board if I'm going to give the painting away, or if I'm going to sell the painting. That has my details on it as well, and it's normally on a sticker that's very difficult to get off as well. And that's all I do to prepare that. I let that dry thoroughly before I'm going to tape that board. I never tape the board until just before I'm going to put the resin on. So while that one's drying, that I've just done, I've got one here that I'm going to tape up ready to do a resin pour on. I just have normal masking tape or builder's tape here. I take it right up to the edge. I don't let it overhang because I want to cover those edges, and then I push down. I then get a knife, and I've got just a normal razor blade knife here. I get the knife up against the edge and I just pull it across, and it gives me a nice, neat cut without having to do too much to it. Really simple. There we go, another nice neat cut. Literally just turn it around. I do it again, right up to the edge, but not overhanging. Another nice neat cut. And you might think, oh, this isn't very sticky, but actually it is sticky enough, and I'll show you what else I do to it in a second, to make it so you can pull those strips off. Now sometimes they don't come off as easy as you would think, but they come off a lot easier with the tape on, because sometimes the tape will pull away and just leave a little bit of tape underneath the where the drips are, and you just have to pick it off, but it still comes off. So the last bit, okay. Again here, that last one there. And I will put the description to the masking tape in the description as well. So, the last thing that I do before I get ready is I get a cloth like this. This is an old tea towel. I rub over the masking tape to make sure it's sealed, and I make sure I rub over those edges as well. And because that acrylic paint is there, this will make a really good adhesion to the MDF. Unlike if you haven't put anything on it. For some reason, tapes do not like, or I find tapes do not like to stick long term to MDF. And that's all I do. And there we go. So that board is now ready to resin over. I will give it a wipe down. This is a board I've had resin for a while. It's been at the bottom of my pile. I will give it a rub down. And there we go. Hey presto. Nice, easily, well prepared board. And I have to say, works 100% of the time for me. And I loves it. I really do. I absolutely loves this method. Hope you found this really useful. I'm certainly glad that I learned how to do this. It saved me tons of time. Enjoy your resin and pouring. Hopefully you'll see me soon. Please like and subscribe. Bye. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share as much as you can. Bye.